Right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that it is time for us to have a bit of a discussion today, and that is going to be on the state of Zenless Zone Zero. Because there's a couple of things that we need to talk about in terms of some of the metrics that I've been tossing around lately, and some of the feedback that I've gotten in response to those metrics. And the first thing is, of course, the fact that I am consistently bringing up something like live viewers, average viewers, to determine the success of a game like ZZZ. Here's one thing that's pretty much objectively true about Twitch, about viewership, about stuff like that. When there's a good update for a game, when there is an update that appeals to a lot of people, a lot of players, then traditionally that game is something that gets viewed a lot more by players of that game because they want to see other people playing it. And the situation that I've talked about in recent months, or really recent weeks, is the fact that ZZZ 2.0, ladies and gentlemen, was not really that great of an update. It was severely overhyped. People were saying it was going to kill all the other gacha games. It was going to be the best 2.0 in gacha history. That the anniversary rewards were so peak compared to everything else. And as a result, it was going to be an absolute banger. And this is the facts. It was not. It was not really that good. And you don't have to take just my word for it. You look at the numbers, you see this incredible peak over here. And then it has one of the most diabolical fall-offs I've ever seen. Stooping to levels that were even lower than the pre-release of the update itself. That's within literally 6 days. Sorry, within 10 days of the update, it was hitting numbers lower than before it. And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. ZZZ already has a track record. It already has a history for when the game was actually doing well. You see this November 2024? That's actually December. Right? This is a month behind. And this was during the 1.4 update and the release of Hoshimi Miyabi and a soft rework, a soft relaunch, a reboot of the game and the removal of TVs. And the game was actually doing really good here, had a lot of growth, was looking really consistent, and looked to be like it was recovering. And then proceeded to have some of the worst months it's ever seen. And now this is the follow-up here, ladies and gentlemen. This article on pocketgamer.biz using AppMagic's data has essentially been able to plot out what the revenue of the game is looking like across mobile players. And this is the thing. I've made sure to do my research in advance. I looked up how accurate is AppMagic, and this is the result that you'll be seeing over here. We got the AI overview from Google with 6 different sources. AppMagic's data accuracy is generally considered good, with an average monthly discrepancy of about 10% for revenue and downloads. However, accuracy can vary, especially for apps with low figures or those that are not consistently ranked highly in App Store charts. And this is the thing, ZZZ doesn't fall into either of those categories. It's got a decent figure, and it's also ranked highly somewhat consistently on the app stores. So just by natural, assumptions in the data, we can assume that the numbers that we're seeing over here for a chart like this is accurate within 10%. So with that all in mind, ladies and gentlemen, what do we see here? A big increase in the popularity of the game, and in turn, its mobile spending when, would you look at that? When the numbers for the game on Twitch are also up as well. And then when the game is in its lowest performing months, with the lowest number of viewers, well, it looks like the revenue seems to follow. Really good at 1.4, drops off just like the viewers at 1.5, and then keeps getting lower as we get into 1.6 and 1.7 because they were just not good updates. And in 2.0, ladies and gentlemen, we're not even close to where we were on launch, and we're still behind the first soft reboot of the game. Even though we just introduced a whole new region, even though we had our anniversary, and this is the most important thing, even though the top-up bonus reset, 1.4 with no top-up bonus, had a higher revenue than 2.0 with the top-up bonus refreshing, and the anniversary, and all of these incentives to spend. Guys, we need to pull the wool off of our eyes. This game and its 2.0 launch were not doing particularly well, and there are a lot of reasons for it. You could talk about the power creep. You could talk about the miasma. You could talk about the story not being good. You could talk about 2.0 with its 40 plus black screens with white text being a huge drop in storytelling. But something is going on with this game. And the faster that you're able to recognize it, the faster you're actually able to give feedback, and you're actually able to bring this game onto the right course. Because there's an example of a game that literally did that. An example of a game that had a bit of a soft reboot, a bit of a soft relaunch, and is now doing so much better because they've actually reimagined how the game is going to work and reimagined the experience. And that is Wuthering Waves. Because all you have to do is look at these trends in comparison. This was Wuthering Waves and its Twitch viewership prior to version 2.0. You see that? It doesn't even break 2K. It doesn't break 2K a single time across several months. And then this December 2024, actually January 2025 is when 2.0 releases. A massive spike in viewership on Twitch. And you want to know what followed alongside that? An announcement from the CEO telling players that on the operational side, we're thrilled to announce that Wuwa achieved its highest single day revenue since launch. A milestone for the team. Oh, but I thought Twitch viewership didn't mean anything. I thought Twitch viewership was irrelevant. I thought that the data wasn't correlated at all. That's the narrative that people are going to tell you only when they're defending a game. They're only going to say that narrative that viewership doesn't matter, even though it's extremely clear within 10% discrepancy, a 10% standard deviation, that is literally the case. That is literally the case. And for your bombshell patch, with all of these new features, all of these new updates, all of this hype, all of this advertisement is not even exceeding, with a top-up bonus reset, the performance that you had in 1.4 on the first relaunch of the game. Guys, what are we doing here? Why are we pretending that these numbers are not an issue? Why are we pretending that this is the case when the devs themselves have decided, the devs themselves over at Hoyoverse, the marketing team at ZZZ has decided that Twitch live streams actually are important, that advertising this game on streaming platforms is actually something that they want to do, that they're willing to monetarily compensate people for, because having good views actually leads to a good amount of player growth. People see a popular person playing something and they want to be able to play it too. However, even if they want to play ZZZ, right now in its current state, it's not really that good of a game. And so they play it, but then nobody watches them play it because people themselves have played it and they don't think it's something that they want to watch. And during 1.4, when there was hype, when they removed the TVs, a lot more people wanted to play ZZZ, and then that growth kept going. But then they dramatically killed any hype that the storytelling had across 1.5 to 1.7 and reduced the quality of the game. And then in 2.0, they completely shit the bed in terms of having the lowest storytelling quality that the game has ever had in its history. 1.4 is so much above 2.0 narratively that it's not surprising that a lot of people don't want to watch it. And it's not surprising that even with a massive recovery over here, it fell off within 10 days, going to 1,200 active viewers in less than 2 weeks after the update. Ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't happen unless the update is disappointing. This doesn't happen unless people don't want to play the events and they don't want to watch other people playing the events. It can only happen when the overall satisfaction for the patch and what's in it isn't high. Because how else can you explain why nobody wants to watch people play it and why nobody wants to play it themselves? And the unfortunate thing is that I actually like ZZZ. I actually liked a lot of the direction that it was going in at the start of the year. And unfortunately, they've progressively only made the game worse. They've added things like miasma that only serve to sell newer rupture units. They've added things that are a pain in the ass to do. They've made the story worse. And all anybody can talk about is how wrong the critiques are. But the numbers are telling a different story. You see that? That's a 691. And this is currently, for the month of July, the lowest number of viewers the game has ever had in the history of its release. During its 2.0 update, during its anniversary, these are the worst viewership numbers the game has ever had. And people will still be telling you that all of the new additions, all of the new boss mechanics, all of the new features, all of the new events are really good, are really high quality. How can that be the case when nobody wants to play it? How can that be the case when you have literal examples in history of when a game actually makes good updates that retain players, that grow players, that make people want to stream it, that make people want to watch it? You literally have a track record and you can see what it looks like in real time, and it's not happening here. It's not happening here. And without a doubt, using these numbers as a backup, it's not happening financially either. 10% discrepancy, by the way. The only reason why we're making this video is to dispel this idea, this claim that people are talking about nowadays, that Twitch viewership, that popularity of a game is inherently not linked at all to performance. One of the comparisons that I've seen is to Nikke. They'll say, oh, Nikke's doing fine, but it doesn't have a lot of views. Motherfuckers, Nikke has never had views. It's never been a game with a lot of viewers. It has never been one that has like consistently broken 1K. What are you doing comparing it to a game like ZZZ that at one point had 13,000 viewers, 10 times as much as Nikke had ever had during its peaks, 6 times as much for other months, and now it's literally in the same ballpark. ZZZ is closer to competing with Punishing Gray Raven than it is to any of the other big Hoyo games or Wuthering Waves. That's where it's currently at right now. And of course, this is one of the big reasons why a lot of the people left in the ZZZ community are a little bit boosted mentally. Let's read this. Your correlation doesn't make sense. Wuwa Anniversary made 10 mil less than ZZZ Anniversary, yet it got more views since Kuro sponsored many streamers to play the anniversary. Brother, you are comparing your 2.0 update that had a top-up bonus reset to an anniversary that was in the middle of a patch cycle during a filler patch. That and the numbers that you're using to compare were from gacha revenue that has been on the record proven to be actively manipulating Wuthering Waves' results. That, and I don't even think what you're typing here is even correct in the first place. Proof? Link it. You got a keyboard? No, I don't. My hands are on my coffee right now. Link it or you're making it up. Surely you're not telling me to just look up something that doesn't exist, right? Oh, I'm too lazy to find proof. Hey, it's all good, brother. So yeah, that's the average type of argument that you're gonna get from somebody that's still defending this game. They're gonna make claims, have absolutely no evidence, and when you ask for proof, they'll tell you to go find proof for something that doesn't exist. They'll tell you to go find something that you literally cannot find. Here's the link, but this does not look good for ZZZ. What is this? Oh, was this the proof? Where's the 10 million? This is like proof of the opposite direction. And like I said, if this is the chart that's being used, Wuwa's numbers have proven to be actively manipulated downwards as well. So we already have a video on it showing that ZZZ and Wuwa's numbers have been actively manipulated. You don't have to take just my word for the game not being in a good spot and the game not doing well. The devs themselves understand that something is severely fucked up with the game. Thank you for staying with us. 5 codes thanking the players for not quitting the game. I've never seen that before. I've literally never seen that before. It's like they really want... And the thing is, it's only 100 polychromes. It's not even a full pull. So you really gotta feel the appreciation here with this one. Yeah, they're making you enter this shit 5 times for 100 polychromes. Not even a full pull. The game has issues. You don't need to crucify every person talking about the problems, especially when even the devs know it's fucked up. Let's be real here. It's becoming more and more clear, ladies and gentlemen. People need to have a more honest discussion about this game moving forward. It is failing to live up to its expectations. It is failing to live up to the hype that its biggest shills have managed to cultivate. And right now, it is quite literally collapsing inward. It is the prolapsed anus of the Hoyoverse body. And I hope that there are some actual meaningful changes coming up for this game in the future, because 2.1 and the context that we're seeing about the 2.1 update, it's not going to cut it. It comes off as a filler patch. It comes off as a vacation, an undeserved vacation that the devs are taking when the state of the game does not warrant there being a celebration at all. So yeah, that'll be my take. That'll be the glue. That'll be the evidence. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what you all think. Peace.